It says that we are live. What do we got here? YouTube stream, is it healthy? All right. Are you on there? Did you log on? We got somebody logging on Facebook.
No, Facebook or YouTube?
Facebook.
Okay.
So we're actually on my Facebook. We get some on the YouTube now. All right. So we are live. It is 7:01 and we are live. We got Cody and Charlie here from 1845 Barndominiums. It is December 26th. We survived Christmas. Barely.
Yes, barely.
Let's see if we get a few more people on here. We have a few questions ready to answer. Give it a few minutes. So, there we go. We've got 15 joining us on the Barndo channel now. Starting to pick up a little bit. Welcome, everyone. Can you pull up the stream on your YouTube?
Yeah.
And let's see. I want to make sure that everything on my screen matches. All right, so welcome, everybody.
Yep.
I'm Charlie. This is Cody. And we are live in our offices here in Hallsville, Texas. We've got a few things that we're going to talk to you about a little bit, about what we've got coming up in 2025, and then we're going to get into some questions. We've had a few people leave us comments, leave us a few questions that we're going to talk about. But wanted to start off by reminding everybody that we do have our 12 Days of Christmas sale going on right now. So far, we've had 2 people actually purchase kit packages using our 12 Days of Christmas sale. So if you're not familiar with that, what we're doing is 20% off all of our floor plans online. So if you go to our website and you're shopping for plans there, whether it's a starter package, gold package, platinum package, if you type in the code Snowflake, we'll give you 20% off of your purchase there now through the end of December. So finishing up 2024, we'll give you 20% off of that plan purchase. And then on the kit packages, we're actually doing 10% off the materials themselves. So 10% off the material package on our kit packages. Are we having?
Can you see the comments?
Nothing's coming up. That's why I was having you log on there.
Kathy is saying that she can turn the volume up a little bit, maybe.
We need to turn the volume up?
Yeah, maybe so.
I can do that. Is that better, Kathy?
We will see.
Let me see what we've got. All right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a few things there too. We're really going to try to commit to doing a more consistent, a more consistent podcast, and we had a couple of cool things we've kind of come up with that we're going to really deep dive into our existing builds, into our new builds, all the other good stuff, and
yeah, we've got a lot of really cool things coming up in 2025, and that's a good segue into one of the ones I'm really excited about. Is we are actually going to start a new podcast in 2025. So this is kind of almost like a trial run for us. For the podcast, we've kind of got a little bit of a setup here. We're working on a studio right now. We actually kind of walked off the studio.
That's right.
Yeah, we kind of measured and getting ready for that, kind of looking at how we're going to decorate that because we want it to, be really cute and everything. So we've got new podcast coming in 2025. Probably one of the coolest things, and this is straight from Cody. This is a good Cody idea. One of the things that we want to do in that podcast is we get a ton of questions when we do a full walkthrough tour.
Yep.
And a lot of those questions are, how much does it cost? How did you do this? How much does it cost to do certain things in that build? So one of the things that we want to do is, as we finish builds, and we're actually going to go back and kind of repurpose some of our old builds, starting with maybe mine.
Yep.
And talk about some of the things that maybe I wish I had not done or had done, but we want to really kind of deep dive into that. And I think that we're going to call it the construction rewind. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit about that. What do we want to do when we go into that construction? We rewind about one of our builds. What do we want to do there?
One cool thing we're doing, and I admit it was my idea, sort of, kind of. I stole this from another podcast, not a build podcast, but I think having somebody that's directly related to the build, either. Hopefully the owner, if they can do that to the actual customer, that I've already contacted a few, and they wanted to come on and talk about their build, kind of the good, the bad, the ugly. We always want to be upfront and honest with everybody that we build with, and there are things that happen, hiccups and things that are out of our control. Some things are under our control, but talk about what's going on. So we've been very fortunate. We have been blessed to have lots and lots of views. A couple of our videos have well over 1 million views, and a lot of questions, thousands of questions on those through or comments. So the idea behind that was to with the homeowner, the builder, a combination of both, and us kind of do a rewind and a watch of the video and talk about specific things of the build that they liked or something that happened, a little bit of insight. So a lot of people call about specific builds. They'll call about the Hilltop. We talked about that earlier. Talk about the Raven is a really popular one. Goosebumps, all that other good stuff there too. So the idea behind that is we'll watch the video together with the owner, with the builder, and review, just what's kind of going on there, and say, y'all may not know this, but this happened during this part of the build, or this. I was actually talking to the Noah Ranch, actually the homeowner just a few minutes ago, and he had some very specific things we did for his that was very unique, and I would love for him to tell why he wanted those certain things on his selections. We have a whole variety of things like that, but really just to piggyback on that, so you have the video, you want questions about it, you'll kind of see behind the scenes. You'll see what the customers loved about it, what they didn't love about it, how great a job we did, or maybe something we could have improved on. I've been building metal homes for 17 years, I guess. And, I have gotten better at this here too. Our company's grown. Charlie joined a few years ago, and we are constantly trying to do better. But, there's, like anything else, we do make mistakes. But we're trying to be honest. We want y'all to connect with the build, with the homeowner, with the builder, and see what it's really like to build with us, and to know what it's like even on our kit stuff. Like we've been fortunate. We've had a couple of kit sales recently that's shipping to other parts of the U.S. But y'all want you to see this is who you're talking to. Whenever you call in, you're going to talk to Charlie, talk to me, a couple of our other salesmen. But we want to really bring you inside of that.
Yeah, and one of the things that we get a lot of, you get a lot of, I would say, negative comments because people, I can't believe they did this, or I can't believe they did that. And it's good for you to understand why. Maybe there's a really good reason why they did it. And we understand you wouldn't do it in your home, or maybe I wouldn't do it in mine, but we want to give you an opportunity to not only talk about how we did it, but then the why as well. That's a big thing now, is what's the why and why you did that. And then of course the golden question of cost. Everybody wants to know the cost. So we want to dig into that a little bit. I just so everybody knows up front, we do not, I'll give you a great example. We try not to just tell you exactly what people paid for their house. And a great example is one of the videos that we posted recently. We immediately, the comment comes out, hey, how much did that cost? Or tell me how much it cost, exactly the way they built it. How much does it cost? Homeowner messaged me directly and said, I don't mind you sharing some of that, but just, hey, maybe not tell them exactly how much we paid for everything, because that's their personal business. So, but we do want to dig into that with the cost, because everybody wants to know that. And everything costs money. Everything that you're putting into that house, talk about how we did it and what it would cost for you to do it in your home and things like that. But just really just dig in and give you an in-depth look at the build process, good and bad, the cost of what we do, the why of what we do, and then of course timeline as well, and talk a little bit about that. But just really give you kind of a behind the scenes blueprint look at how we build each of those houses. And the other thing that we're going to do in 2025 is we're starting a new channel. So we've got our Barndo channel here. We're going to keep the Barndo channel. So we're going to focus on podcast and long form video here on the Barndo channel. I've actually already started a new channel that is 1845 Barndo Shorts. So all of our shorts, kind of our behind the scenes, a little more lighthearted there, maybe some bloopers, just kind of show the process and the day-to-day stuff that we do. I like to cut up and have fun, especially when we're out videoing and stuff like that. So some of that behind the scenes stuff, so you can really see our personality and who we are. And so let's talk a little bit about Build Radius and one of our new locations. One of the questions that came in just a little bit ago was, where are you expanding to? Like, what's next for us? Because it seems like we're always posting a video of, hey, we're expanding and we're growing. So we are actually going to grow a little bit north of where we are right now into Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. We've met an awesome family up there, the Lawrence family, who owns Lawrence Construction, and we're going to be able to offer builds in what we're calling the Ozarks region. So we're kind of calling that our 1845 Ozarks connection up there. So we'll be able to offer turnkey, shell, and of course our kit packages up there as well. But that's going to be really awesome. So if you're in the Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas area, really excited for you in 2025, because we will be able to offer Barndo packages there. Pricing is very similar to here. We're still going to have everything, basically sales and everything would go through our office, and then we've got a contractor there in the Lawrence family that we're really excited about.
So let's talk about that just for a minute, and because that's something that I've really struggled with over the years, in the past several years, is how do we do that? How do we expand very healthily? Is that a word?
Yeah, healthfully.
Yeah, I'm from Hallsville, so I apologize. How do we expand the right way so we're not, putting ourselves out there where we're disappointing customers because we're not able to meet our commitments we're making there too? So what we're doing here with Hank and his family on there too is he's a seasoned builder, second generation builder. Found us on the channel, and he's been down here a few times. Charlie's been up there a few times, meet with him. The idea behind that is, a lot of people say, look, get somebody local to your area that's going to build for you, so you're not dealing with somebody far off. Now, with us having engineering in-house and design in-house and all that other good stuff we've done a really good job of, it is very helpful, obviously, to have somebody local that knows your area, on that side too. So the idea behind this is not really to necessarily open a new branch there, but have a local builder there that's got a lot of experience there too, that we work hand in hand in, that we make sure the quality of the 1845 that we do so hard to work towards, and the commitment to having somebody local there too that's going to be there. You're not calling us 500 miles away in Texas or whatever it's going to be. So that's a commitment we're trying to do there across Texas, the Ozark area. Did you come up with that name, or did Hank come up with that?
I did. I know Hank's probably watching this, but yeah,
it's very good.
Totally did that.
Impressive. So the Ozark area that we're doing there too. Charlie's shot some videos already with Hank, and have some more coming up there too. Hank does a couple cool things that we don't do down here. Hank's I think the word's licensed helical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does helical piers. Really cool thing here. We don't do that much here in Northeast Texas here because of the soil design, but Hank builds a lot off of some waterways and stuff like that too that require that, some really deep piers. How deep did you say?
So he's got a couple of really cool builds. I'll talk a little bit about those for a second. He's got a really cool A-frame build that we're doing there, and that one is about 9 feet off the ground. You can actually pull your car underneath the house, pier and beam style with steel frame. And I think they went over 30 feet, 32
really deep,
feet. And the one that I'm really excited about is we went up this past weekend and looked at one out on the just right on the White River, bald eagles soaring over the White River. It was really awesome. That one's also going to be up on piers because they have to get it above the floodplain. Yeah. So I believe he told me they had to get above the highest recorded flooding ever, whatever that line is.
FEMA's tough on you, man.
Yeah, so he's got some really, really cool builds up there. But like he said, their family's been building for 30 years in that Ozarks area, and they've got a ton of, they've done commercial, they've done residential, so it was just kind of a plug and play for us. And it's finding somebody that you trust and somebody that you believe in, and somebody that just seemed like a really good partnership from day one when we met them. And then don't forget, we of course have our Southeast office as well. That's
Bradley
and Rob, shout out to those guys. That's been a really good connection for us and partnership with us. We were talking just earlier about going over there to see our build in Tennessee that they're working on. And that's a really good one. So they're covering 9 states in the Southeast region. We had a question here. Will you have TurnKey? AK on YouTube says, will you have TurnKey in Shell Phase 1 and 2 in Virginia? The answer to that is yes. I actually just had that question answered because I've had a couple of customers in that area. So the answer to that is yes, we can provide Shell Phase 1 and 2 in Virginia.
We're really close to Virginia, actually. Our location up there, we've been there. I guess we made an agreement with those guys. That sounds harsh. We joined forces. I think
they joined the team.
In February of this past year. So we're almost a year into that. And they're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We are in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Beautiful area there. Where it's at there, again, lots of years experience with those guys as well. But it's only maybe an hour south of Virginia, maybe.
Yeah. And they have a huge coverage area, and so they've been in the commercial steel industry for quite a while. So they've got a lot of connections over there. So we've got our Southeast offices, of course. We've got our East Texas, and then we actually have another question. Carol Wallace, is there an update on Delaney Walker's build? So we are actually headed there a couple of weeks from now. So we're going to have some update video on that. I have not been over there in a while.
It's hard to describe. So it's on top of a hill, and when you drive up on the hill there too, it's a little breathtaking. It's a gorgeous area, but the house is a little large.
The property there, and we'll try to give you a good video of that when we go up there. Just pulling up to that property and seeing that house sitting up there. I think 16,000 square feet.
It's gigantic.
I believe total under roof. So that thing is huge.
Just to not shut you off. So where that's at right now, mechanical trades are 99% done. We're about to start the final bit of the finish out work, trimming, painting, stuff like that too. So we're not that far out, maybe 7 or 8 weeks, something like that, from being completed with that. That's getting really close. So I'm hesitant. I told Charlie I'm hesitant to give out too much of the video there too because it's so gorgeous. And once there, I don't want to give out a photo that's not as appealing on it there too, but we'll definitely, I mean, the garage is, I built a lot of these. I mean, I don't know, maybe 200 or 300 maybe not that many, not that many houses. I probably built 1,000 buildings, in my lifetime, and what my dad did. And that is one that I was not prepared when it went up, how big it was. I mean, just the feel of it and the look, man, it's just really, really cool.
And the question from Carol Wallace I wanted to touch on is, are we expanding in Texas? And the answer to that is yes. We've actually expanded our coverage area quite a bit in Texas, closer to the Austin area. We do have a partner in Burnett, the Burnett Marble Falls area, that can do turnkey builds, shell builds. And then actually we've got another couple of contractors that we're working with that we can really cover from Dallas all the way down. We've got one in Livingston. Shout out to Tabitha. I don't know if she's watching, but Tabitha, we're coming to Livingston to put one up there. So basically from Dallas all the way down to Houston. And then we've got that Waco, Burnett, Marble Falls area covered. So we've got a lot of Texas. We may eventually make our way over to West Texas, but that's just kind of
and that's one thing I don't get. So a lot of the other quote unquote designers / builders that you'll see on Facebook or YouTube, more Facebook than anything, they will come out there and they've never done a build in their life, or they've done two, or they design, or whatever it may be, and they advertise, we can cover you all 50 states. I don't know how you go to Alaska, and build, first of all.
Canada. Yeah. That's number 51, all 51 states.
But I don't get that. So we are hypersensitive to, now the kit stuff is engineering. That is not that complicated. I say that. I don't want to demean Daniel.
Engineering's easy.
Yeah. But as far as the actual turnkey stuff, guys, until we have a trust and a faith in some guys in your area, we are not open to really going that route. Like with Hank, Rob, Bradley, all those guys there too. We are not about to just say, no problem, we got you covered. Oh, you want to build something in Vermont? We got you covered. We want to make sure that you're getting quality through and through, because, we have to sleep at night to know what product we're putting out there too. So that's something I never really got, I guess, when you see these guys. Oh, I got you covered in 50 states, no problem at all. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, we can find somebody. There's no doubt. I mean, it's easy to find a contractor, but you don't know, we don't know if they're shady, if they're reliable or whatever. And that's why we are very appreciative and blessed with the partnerships that we have, because, they just seem pretty seamless. As soon as we meet them and get to know them a little bit, it's like, these are people that we want to partner with and that we trust with our name and our likeness.
Stephanie Williams, we're in Tyler. We're like 30. I'll be there tomorrow. We're like 30 miles from you.
Tyler, for sure. We got turnkey there, shell, whatever. We've actually got a couple.
We have
of
3 builds there in Tyler.
In Tyler. So that's becoming a pretty hotbed area for us. We've got a couple actually going towards the Texarkana area. We're headed that way a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about the golden question. You want to talk cost to build or topics that we're going to cover? Which one do you want to tackle first?
Yeah, we can do cost for a minute. A lot of folks have asked about the upcoming tariffs that the new presidential folks are coming in and threatening on that side. I'm not expecting a gigantic, which let me go back to there too. We do a primarily steel frame. So we do a little bit of a hybrid at times. We got a few hybrids going on. My background is structural steel, so that is our focus on what's there. We could do other types of builds too. It's that's just what our focus is on that side too. So I'm not expecting a gigantic jump on anything, honestly, right now. Usually, believe it or not, the market can predict it pretty well ahead of time. So if they felt really strongly about these tariffs coming, the increases would be starting now on that side, preparing for what's there, just like it was with COVID and previous years from 9/11, you name it. So I'm not expecting a big jump on that side too. We have stabilized. Wood has stabilized quite a bit. Your drywall material, other synthetic stuff has stabilized. Concrete or cement in your area may vary a little bit based on where you're at, but it's been really pretty stable the last year or so, and I don't expect a big jump either way.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we got here is you're considering AK here. Another question about considering hiring an architect. Want to know if we do things, offer services and consultation, guiding through that stage in Virginia. So I want to tell you what we do here in Texas, and I'm sure we would do the same thing for you in Virginia. We definitely won't do anything without putting boots on the ground and looking at that property, especially when it comes to the pad construction, things like that. So we typically handle floor plan first. So we work on the design, make sure that structurally we know, hey, this is 70 by 50, what size pad we're going to have. Then we go out to that project location, and there have been several times that we have set foot on the property out there and go, no, that's not going to work. We're going to have to back up, 50 feet or move over 75 feet. We are all about what's going to be the most cost-effective way to give you a solid foundation underneath your home. So my short answer to that question is absolutely. We have the services needed to help guide you through that planning, because there's no way that we want to pour a foundation or build a house on shoddy foundation or shoddy ground. So we go to great lengths to make sure that area or that property is ready for the build. So I'm going to touch on a question that we got from CJW21. Can you build a home and large storage building at the same time?
Yep.
Elaborate. All right, stop. Elaborate.
And listen.
Listen.
Yeah, we were both born you were in the 70s, the 80s, right?
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Very, very late 70s.
Yeah, I'm an early 80s guy. So, we're going to have an actual full podcast, a small one, on that whole, what that means, what a barndominium means. And I see that a lot in our comments about, what your building's not a barndominium, or that's not what a barndominium is. There's pluses and minuses to everything on that side. But as far as what my home is and what I designed it for was living space / large storage space. So I built mine very economically, real large space. I have 5 kids. At the time, I had 5 kids living at home. A couple of them have moved on and moved out, gone to college and
stuff.
Sorry, playing with my switchboard.
Yeah, but as far as that goes, building a big storage area, it's really all about your selection, what you want to do. We try to guide folks looking to build a new Barndo. Charlie does it way more than I do, but guide them to be what's most cost effective. We'll tell you, I love the idea. If you're one that for cosmetic reasons, that's fine, but you're going to spend a lot more money because of a certain design. But the idea, I think, behind a Barndo originally was big open spaces, big storage areas, very cost effectively, and it's turned into a whole lot of other things. But yes, that's something you definitely can do. Big storage space. My house originally, which, believe it or not, I'm sure my wife isn't watching, so I'm going to tell on her on that. We originally had a footprint of a 3,000 footprint of the heated and cooled. We had some upstairs part too, and then my garage was 2,000 square feet. So I was, 5,000 square feet footprint, not counting porches, and almost half of that was actually storage place / garage, whatever that was. So that lasted for about a year or two in this current house we have here now, and we ended up adding on and stuff there too. But yeah, very, very common. We have 3 or 4 builds we've shown where it's 1,200 living space, another 2,000, there. It's really, really popular.
Yep.
You can save some significant money doing that way. But it's just really all depending on what you want to achieve at the end of it.
Okay. So this is a good question for us to talk about a little bit. Stephanie, I believe that's, from the Tyler area. Do y'all allow for owner to do finishing or turnkey only? So that's a very good question. So we offer essentially 3, sometimes I say /4 phases of a shell package. So when we do shell packages, phase 1 for us is pretty much we take care of pouring concrete. We can do foundation. It depends on if you want us to include the dirt work and everything, but we're going to pour concrete, steel materials, install windows, and erect the building and sheeting and roofing. Get you basically in the dry, per se. And so that would be phase 1. Phase 2 would be we go ahead and proceed with wood framing next. Now, the key with the shell packages is the mechanical trades. We do not include mechanical trades in our shell packages because you can elaborate on this a little bit, but the warranty-wise for having us, let's say we come in and do rough in, and then you have somebody else come in and connect to that. That's a warranty nightmare, right?
Yeah. So going back to the Texas / wherever else there too, and we talk about financing a little bit on that too.
Okay.
And that's a good question, Stephanie. But so when you're doing a slab foundation anyway, you have to rough in your plumbing before you pour your foundation. So I don't like to offer us provide our own licensed plumber to come do this, and then I'll finish out the rest of it, because if there's an issue down the road and you've had 2 different licensed people do the work there too, one of them's not going to always own up to if there's an issue.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that part.
Because and rightfully so, they don't know what the other person did, and I totally understand that there too. So we recommend, if we're not doing the full turnkey, we will work with your electrician, work with your plumber, and make sure it's done properly on our phases of it there too. But it's something that under Texas law, under Texas liability, you have to have certain warranties by law that you have to do there too. And it pretty much voids the warranty that you would get with a new build for the licensed trades if the one person is not doing it all the way through on the particular trades.
And then on the financing end of it, you're going to have a harder time financing a shell package. And that's one of the things that we've run into a lot with kit packages as well, is trying to put A and B together, because when you go to the bank and tell them, hey, I'm going to purchase a kit package and I'm going to DIY this thing, which is very popular right now because, you know, for YouTube and everything. But your problem there is the bank's going to tell you, yeah, we're not going to finance that because you need a contractor. And a lot of times, three things that we're always asked for from the bank is our signed contract as the contractor, cost breakdown, and plans, so that they can do appraisals and things like that. They just really frown upon DIY on a full construction project like that. Yeah,
Texas is very much contractor friendly. I've told that a million times. Other states are a little bit harder to do that on. So, but if you have the cash to do it, more power to you, man. I mean, it's all over YouTube about how I built my house for $5,000. You know, it's not a reality all the time there. But if you have cash to do it, man, I have no problem, you know, being a DIYer. We all start somewhere on that side there too. There are reasons behind you don't do that with contractors and stuff. And anyways, that's just banks are very hesitant to do that too, because if you don't know what you're doing, which most people don't on that side, you don't have any experience, and you get halfway through and hey, your budget was way off because you've never done this before, and now the bank's stuck with something you can't pay for, you can't live in, it's not habitable. It gets them in a really bad situation. So they're very hesitant to actually do a partial on that side there too. I've seen it happen before. It used to be more common before all the three different making crises we have. Prior 2008, man, you could pretty much do anything you wanted to, but now banking laws are a lot more restrictive.
Yeah. Okay. So a question that just came across here from Brian Bruno. Watched your videos over and over. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sorry you have to look at me that much. And wants to know about plans. He has engineered plans. Can he call for price for email? So this is kind of a good little segue into going to our website.
Yep.
So since we're live right now, I mean, I could tell you my email address. It's charlie@team1845.com. Easiest thing for you to do probably is go to our website, go to our request a quote tab up there, and just fill out some information. It's going to ask you where you are, your name, maybe the floor plan. You can just tell me you've got custom plans. Submit that, and I'll get that first thing in the morning. So if you go to our website, you can either go to our Get Started page. You can even go to schedule an appointment. You can schedule a phone conference with me or an in-person meeting with me. I'm happy to do those. But so you can go to our website and submit that, and I can get you a price pretty quickly. I mean, we are getting the new year. My wife's birthday's coming up, so we'll be off a couple of days next week. But we can get you a price pretty darn quickly. Lamar County, Texas. I'm not exactly sure city. What city is that? I don't have my phone with me. I apologize.
Yeah, look.
I'm not very technologically advanced tonight.
I'm thinking that's Houston area.
If it's a Houston area, we can definitely.
Lamar University is in Beaumont.
Okay, so
no, it's Paris. It's not quite as far.
Paris, Texas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can. Yeah, pretty sure we can get that one covered, for sure. We've got one of our contractors. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know where that was. I could tell you an interesting story about the Paris. They are the Mustangs, or there's something to do with a horse for athletics.
The horses, I think.
They're the horses for sure. Yeah, the horses. But I could tell you a coaching story from there, but we won't go there yet. So sounds like if you're in their area, they will do the build themselves. Out of their area, they will show. Chisholm, I know that Chisholm Mustangs. Can I tell my story, even though it may be a little bit?
It's the Paris Wildcats. You're way off.
No, it's not. They're Paris Chisholm. Paris Chisholm is I believe, the only anatomically correct horse statue in athletics that I've ever seen. Yeah, so it's nothing super bad, but yeah, I had a coach get off of a bus and prove to everybody that the horse, they have a statue out there of a horse, I do believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Homesteadish, the Paris Chisholm, but yeah, that's a great story. Any of you that needed to know that.
Thank you.
True on the Mustang Privates. There you go. See, perfect. Nailed it. All right, so so we got that one correct. Thank you very much. So let's talk about topics that we're going to cover on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I have one other question. I'm sorry. From CJW21, sent us 3 questions earlier this afternoon. And this is a good question. If I buy one of the top tier floor plan packages, like our gold or platinum, which comes full construction set and everything, is it good for 1 to 2 years? How long is that good for? If you buy that set of construction sets and they wait 1 or 2 years, can they still use those?
Yeah. So what we give when you buy our sets of plans is you get a 1 license deal on that, and it's not something that expires. So you can build this house legally, I guess, at any time, up to 1 time. So it doesn't run out, anything like that at all. There's lots of folks that we deal with. I mean, we actually, Charlie had a meeting with some folks today that we met with for the last 7 months, 8 months. I know that's a shorter time, but we deal with people who are 2 years down the road.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So we understand wanting to get your ducks in a row and do all the other stuff first. So, but yeah, that's not a big deal to do.
Okay. And then, so what is the average build time? Bubba Dub says average build time. I'll talk on that one for just a minute.
Yep.
And I'm sure Cody will correct me when I'm wrong.
No. All good.
On average, I would say if you came in with nothing too crazy as far as the floor plan or anything like that, and it's kind of dependent on size and how custom it really is, I would say around 8 months, 6 to 8 months is what we're shooting for. We've had some that have taken, 10 to 12 months, but they're just humongous. Yeah, they're just huge projects, full custom projects. But typically when I'm meeting with customers and they ask about that timeline, I usually tell them, hey, 6 to 8 months. Our goal is to get that thing built in 6 months. I was very fortunate with mine. I believe we were 6 months to the day, had 0 delays as far as weather.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. And whenever you start a build, say you sign with us tomorrow and you're around, it rained all day today.
Yep.
It is one of our builds we're delivering a house to tomorrow. It is a mud pit. And so that can really slow down, especially if you haven't poured your foundation yet.
Yeah.
I remember 2006 or 7, it rained 14 or 15 straight days in January. We couldn't pour concrete. I mean, there's nothing you can really do on that side too. So the people, what they feel when they actually sign a contract or money's changed hands, whatever it may be, is, hey, the clock started.
That's right.
And if there's a situation that it delays, it can happen there too. And it's a lot of times out of our control. But so what Charlie's giving you on the time frame is 100% right. And once the shell's up and the road is okay and all the other stuff there, it's really pretty quick. But it's just getting to that part here, getting in the dry, and man, you can rock and roll after that.
I tell people the hardest part for the homeowner is when you've got that dirt pad there and there's this time, you're going to pour concrete, but even after you pour concrete, the hardest part is staring at that slab for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, letting concrete cure, getting steel delivered, and you feel like nothing is happening. And behind the scenes, it really, really is. And that's kind of what we want to do with the podcast, is show you things like that. When we get into this, when we start getting behind the scenes a little bit and show you what's actually happening in that 2 week span when we're sitting and waiting, it seems like nothing's happening. But the podcast is going to be, I think that's going to be really, really fun and really cool. I think our viewers are really going to like that. And some of the things that we kind of want to, we actually wrote down on our board over here, a few of the things that we want to talk about. Floor plan mistakes to avoid. That's one I can help with a lot, because I sit with a lot of customers and go through floor plans. The building timeline, how long does it actually take to build, which we've elaborated a little bit. A really good one that we're excited about is the steel versus hybrid.
Yeah. So let me talk about it just for a second. So, the word Barndo, again, there's some really big folks out there that do a full pole barn style build, which just 6x6s or a variation of that too, and then you pour a foundation. There's the hybrid, which is steel columns, steel roofing, steel purlin, and then you wood frame in between it. There's the full steel, what we do most of probably, which is the steel metal building that you build inside of that. And then you have the tubular frame that you see all the time there too, that are really fast and designed. There are significant differences between those. There are good uses for each one of those. I'm not an anti anything on that side at all. I know a lot of people in my field hate one or the other, or vice versa, that, you got to go wood or you got to go steel. But understanding the use of it is very important, the area you're in, and why we do what we do, and trying to translate that into a house would make a lot more sense, I think, when we dive into that. But understanding that you can get much less expensive. There was a guy commented in one of our videos a day or two ago about somebody can buy not one of our kits, but a kit for a home from Home Depot much cheaper than we sell. And I'm going, dude, I don't know how.
Yeah, that's not apples and apples there.
Yeah, but again, there's nothing wrong with something like that. It's just understanding what the end use is and what you're trying to do. And you asked earlier about talking about the more efficient, cost-effective designs we're doing here locally. And we're going to do in the Ozark area and in the Southeast here really, really soon. But you want to hit on that a minute? Yeah.
So the Signature Series is something that we've been working on that for 6 months to a year. Really, we've been trying to get it going. So it's a more cost-effective build. It's more like what you would consider like a spec home build, where you're still getting to customize and make decisions and selections on the interior finishes, the colors on the outside, things like that. But what we've done is we took 5 to 7 of our most commonly used floor plans, our Laredo, that McGarvey plan, the Ranger, a couple of those, and we're turning those into a more cost-effective build where you may be 185, even upwards of $200 a foot for a full custom build. We can be more like the 160 to 165 range for this. And again, you're still getting to customize but we're just limiting is not a good word, but we're basically giving you a list of things to choose from as far as your knobs and pulls, your doors, your floors, your countertops, things like that, giving you really good selections, quality selections. We're not bringing you the cheapest alternative that we possibly can, but it makes it easy for us if we know ahead of time, if we're able to take those selections and just go build the house.
Yeah.
Versus a custom where there's a lot of things that are kind of as we go, we're making those decisions and doing these things and finalizing things. If we know on the front side everything that we're doing in that build, that's why you see spec homes go up, so fast, because they're just building them one after the other like cookie cutter. And that we don't want cookie cutter houses, but we're just trying to find a cost effective option for people, and that signature series will be what it is. And we're going to it'll probably be springtime, March or April, when we actually unveil that. But I'm really excited about that one as well, because I've had two customers. Give a shout out to Miss Linda Chung if she's watching tonight. She was the first customer I ever even mentioned that to, and the second that I told her the cost versus a custom, it was like, okay, where do I sign up? How do I do that? Yeah. And I think that's going to really take off as we hit the spring, when we can get our selections ready and kind of get our ducks in a row ready for that.
Well, one thing we're working on, and we're not the first to do this. I actually contacted a company out of Ohio, I think, that does this, and I didn't hear back from them, unfortunately. But we're going to try to create a calculator type thing in your area. You select what part of the state you're in, which state. It won't work for every state because we don't build in every state. But you can click on if you want a turnkey build in North Carolina, and you want this much footage and all these other things.
Linda Chung is on.
Hey, Miss Linda.
Hi, Linda.
But saying whenever when we do that, you can actually not pre-build your quote, but if you want to know how much it's going to cost to do X, Y, Z, we're going to have a pretty ornate. We're actually supposed to do that today, but we got ran over in time. We had another customer come in, but we're going to build an online calculator to build your own house pretty much based on your selections. So like Charlie was talking about, it's not really buying a less expensive ceiling fan. That's not what we really try to do on that side. It's more about, do you want a builder grade granite? Do you want a granite they carve from stone out of
Brazilian,
Africa? Yeah. There's all those things there too that cause a gigantic difference in pricing. So the idea behind it is answer 15, 20 questions about your build, square footage. We did a short calculation on a actual bathroom price per foot that just blows my mind at how expensive it is per the bathrooms. But we're going to try to create that and be a big part of that in the future here too. I want to hit on one thing, Charlie, real quick.
Go ahead.
So somebody asked, and Johnny's Mill, Go Birds. I was just in Philadelphia 3 weeks ago. Big Eagles fan.
Yeah, I was in Arkansas.
So Brian Bruno asked, are your kits welded or bolt-on?
That's what I wrote right there.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what we sell, if we're selling you a kit, we will not ever, ever, ever send you something that is not engineered and prefabricated for you to go on site. If you're wanting to buy material from us, I will sell you material, but I'm not going to design the framing members or anything like that at all because of the liability behind that. If I was to deliver you something, you may be a great welder, Brian, and do all these other things right. But ultimately, I have to make sure it's done the right way. So we are designing a pre-engineered metal building designed for your zip code, for your wind load, for all the things that it requires on that side there too. And that's what we're delivering you. So it's a big, heavy erection set is what it's going to be. Now, can you buy a weld-up kit locally for less money? 100% you can. You can buy it from me locally here or there too. I'm just not going to design it for you because if you don't use it in the way that I designed it because you just want to do your own thing, the liability falls back on us there too, and I'm just not a big fan of that. So if we sell you a kit and it's shipped to you there too, it's 100,000% engineered and prefabricated to essentially bolt together on site. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna touch on another question in just a minute. I'll let you answer.
Yeah.
I like letting Cody answer the technical questions since he's been doing this a lot longer than me. Marissa just says, sorry, just tuning in. Have you already mentioned the basic cost per square foot? You want me to kind of
have at it?
All right. So here we go. Everybody's turning the volume up right now because we're going to give you the exact cost per square foot, no matter the floor plan. And I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But we are going to tell you kind of an idea. I can tell you really the Ozarks and us and really the Burnett area down there too is not much different. The biggest difference there, I think, is the concrete cost there.
Yeah.
But in general, you're looking at and I've actually just created for 2025 a document that we're sending out to customers that's like how to calculate your own, basically a worksheet for you to be able to go through and calculate your own. So the heated and cooled space, which we separate those out like an appraisal. So we do heated and cooled space, then porches, shops, garages, things like that. If you take your heated and cooled space, just to give you a broad range, but at least it kind of gives you an idea, you're looking at probably $185, upwards of $200 a foot in some areas. It depends on your finish outs. Okay, and that has a lot to do with it. But on average, we're $185 to $200 a foot. I would say we're more towards the 185 in most situations. If I just said, okay, 1,800 to 2,000 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with porches, carport, things like that. So we'd be around the $185 per square foot on the heated and cooled space. If you go to the porches and carports are maybe a little bit more framing involved with a carport. But a porch and carport, they're going to be roughly $40 a foot, $40 to $43 a foot per square foot. And then if you go to a garage or a shop area, those are going to be $50 to $60 a foot. And that goes back to overhead doors. Are you putting windows in there? What type of insulation? There's just a lot of factors in there. But so to kind of recap that, you're looking at, for the heated and cooled space, roughly $185 per square foot turnkey. If you go to porches and carports, $40 to $43 per square foot on average. And then shops and garages are $50 to $60 per square foot. Now, kit packages, I'll touch on that just a little bit. Our average for a kit package, and the way to calculate a kit package is total under roof square footage. You've got to add up the heated and cooled space, the porches, the garage, everything included underneath there. And we're probably going to be about $25 a foot. I think somewhere $23 to $25 a foot is our average. Again, that also depends on the framing style. A monitor style build versus a pure rectangular style build is a lot different. So there's a lot of different factors in there, and we are never ever afraid of sharing cost with you. It's hard for us. We don't like to give you vague answers. So it's a lot easier for us if you can kind of narrow it down for us as far as the square footage and things like that and exactly what we're building for you. And then we try to help with that as much as we can. So that's kind of and if shell packages, you're going to be anywhere from $50 to $75 a foot, depending on what phase we're going into, things like that.
Yeah.
So
one thing we do too, that we'll have a podcast on that too, is an actual cost breakdown. We don't offer, I say that we don't offer. We could offer that, I guess. When we give you a price, we break down every trade that we have on that, so you're getting a very open answered what everything's going to cost.
Yeah, 8 pages.
Yeah,
essentially.
The foundation, the concrete, the plumbing, all this other stuff there too. You're going to have a price for every bit of that. So we don't do. A lot of folks will say, "Okay, give me $500,000, I'll do your home." You know what everything's going on, so we actually draw for money or whatever on the turnkey side, or on the other end where we're doing a shell. It allows you to see actually what you're paying for on that side. So that's a big thing on that side too. And I want to say one more thing, because I think one of these guys on here either has a great question, builds metal buildings, or
go with Mueller.
Yeah. So great question, Bubba Dub. Mueller.
Hold on. So the question is, question is, tell me or sell me on why I should go with you instead of just ordering the same kit from Mueller.
Yeah. So one, Mueller will not sell you what we design or build. They do not. Mueller will build a rectangular metal building or the other stuff. If you went to them and said, I want this crow's foot, I want this cut off here, I want this valley, I want this porch here, I want all these other things, they're going to say thanks, but no thanks. I know that because my engineer is from Mueller. I hired him from Mueller about 5 years ago.
Full disclosure.
And our detailer too.
Yeah, detailer.
And it's not a knock on Mueller. Their bread and butter is going to be pre-engineered metal buildings. Will they sell you a 40 by 50 and you can design a house out of it 100%? But what makes our stuff so unique on the design world? You can find a small detailer that does this. A small fabricator that does this. But we have some very, very complex metal structures it's a lot harder to do than just with wood. And it takes weeks to detail sometimes. We have a couple of builds. We have one we're about to ship, I guess this next week, that took, I think, 48 hours just of detail work because of the connections. We use the same software Mueller uses, Mueller or you name every other pre-engineered company in the world. We use MBS, and we use Tekla as well. Yeah. And so it's not apples to apples on that side. They wouldn't build one of our homes. If it's a simple house with a little lean-to, they could probably do that there too, but you're going to be hard-pressed for them to find someone on that too. And it's funny you say that. So I met a fellow 3 years ago, probably.
I knew this story was coming.
Yeah. Real quick story. So we showed up. We had built like a little. It was for an RV park. We built a wash station where you can bathe and stuff like that too. And a guy came up and was like, "Hey, I'm just moved to the area. I'm wanting to build a barndominium." Had no idea what we did, and he said, "I went to Mueller." And he said that, and this is not a knock on Mueller. We buy from them. They're great folks. Not a knock at all. And he said, I wanted to build a building with some porches and stuff. And they said, we'll sell you the building, but I'm not doing all these. We're not doing all the crazy porches. We just don't do that on the pre-engineered side. And then he said, I said, well, that's funny you say that. That's what we do. But that was kind of my transition there too. So my background again is pre-engineered metal buildings, steel erection from the last 20 plus years. My dad did that before me, and so I know the background of that too, and I know when I started doing homes what it looked like to the harder detail stuff to do, and it's just not enough money in it for those guys like Mueller because they can do it. They can do a whole metal building design, for instance, a 40 by 50 in a matter of hours, 2, 3, 4 hours worth of engineering and detailing because it's so simple. With some of ours more complicated, like which one was the Rainbird? What was that one called?
Bird's Nest.
Bird's Nest. That was about 9 or 10, or Delaney's. Delaney's was 15 buildings is what that was. We built 15 separate buildings and tied them together. And you could not charge enough to make that work out there for a bigger company. It just wouldn't make sense money-wise.
So anyway. I'm going to interrupt just for a second on that Bird's Nest. So that's what we're talking about with the monitor style. And when you look at that, if you don't know what a monitor style is, like an old barn style type, where you've got buildings on the side and then it elevates up in the center there with a gabled. And that's like framing 3 different buildings at one time, basically. Instead of having one single roof line, now you've got 3 buildings that you're framing. So the steel package on that, and this is what we're talking about options when you're asking us to give you a cost per square foot. That footprint, that's a Laredo layout.
Yep.
That is a Laredo footprint that we could build it in a single roof ridge line up there, and it'd be much cheaper than to build that in a monitor style. So it just varies from build to build. Another question that came in is California.
Yep.
And I actually spoke on the phone to a gentleman today from California, and I'll touch a little bit on this one. So as far as the seismic regulations, things like that, engineering wise, yes. For the metal building, yes, no problem at all. What I usually will tell customers is, if you can give me an idea, now I believe Daniel's program will tell them, if I can give them the zip code, they'll tell us what building codes, but I usually kind of put it on the homeowner, like, hey, let me know, what do you want me to engineer this to? What do you need? And then we can engineer the building for that for sure. What we don't do is the foundation. Yeah. And I had that question today on the phone was, what do you do? Can you do anything as far as the engineered foundation? And I told him the answer is really no.
Not in-house.
Not in-house. We don't have anybody that can stamp that foundation plan in-house. Now we can get it. It's for a fee. Obviously.
What we've done, you need to do boring of the area. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense cost-wise. Could we go up there and do it? We could. But it doesn't make sense for us to go 1,000 miles to go bore in your area and test it from there too. Hiring a local civil company or a boring company that will bore it and design your slab for you based on. So one thing they'll have to have are our collateral loads. They'll have to know how the building's going to be designed, all the different weights on there too. We send that with them along with pairing that with the foundation, and that's when they come up with your foundation plan. So it's not about us being able to do it or not. It's just about cost effective. It just does not make sense for us to do that on that end. The seismic load's funny. So whenever we started down this road with Daniel a few years ago, he actually told me part of Tennessee has a big seismic. Is it Tennessee or Virginia?
Ooh,
I think it's Virginia, maybe. But it's
is it Tennessee?
Yeah, because the mountain area. It actually they have hurricanes.
Hurricanes are notorious in the mountain region. Sorry about you guys in Tennessee.
They have earthquakes there, and so that's an issue. But seismic stuff is an issue in Tennessee, even there too. So, it's not an issue at all to design it that way. And without going into this big long diatribe about that, because I love to talk about that too much, and now we're over past.
We've got 10 minutes left.
So with the seismic stuff, it's just all math calculations. So it's not hard to do. Steel is just easier to accomplish that a lot of times in Florida and in the big heavy wind areas than it is with wood. It's real simple. We type this equals this equals this. So that's why it's so easy for us to achieve that really anywhere in the U.S. because it's just math. It's, we find out what code you're in, what code your county or parish or whatever else is abiding by, and we know what the limits are, and it doesn't take any more time really than to design it in that area. We just need to know what it's going to be and And that's how it's pretty easy to achieve that.
Yep. So we have another one that came in that's snow load, same exact thing.
Yeah.
So basically, here that comes down to obviously the structural part of the steel, the engineering part of the snow load, but the roof structure there. I'll never forget the first set of plans that I brought in when I first started this job. I was looking at it and Cody knew immediately. It was 7 or 8 on 12 pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why is the roof so stinking tall? Like, why do they need that? And it's obviously it was from Colorado, I believe. Yeah. But that's something that we take into account. So that's part of the engineering that we don't just take. I don't know of one build that we've ever done that we just go, we've done that before. Let's just pull that file out and build that and do it. We basically engineer every building.
Yeah. So a basic 2021 or 2018 IBC code, without again going down a rabbit hole here too. What we build here, what's okay in Northeast Texas, will cover about 70%, 65-70% of the United States will be the exact same code, really close to that. The other 30%, you deal with wind, snow, seismic stuff. Where it gets hairy is when you have a combination of both. So like on the Northeast coast, you have heavy wind and snow. Not great on that side. As far not great as far as it's just more expensive to build that. It's not that it's hard to do, but it's hard to give an exact pricing on some of those things there too. But again, not a big deal to do at all. Once we know your zip code and we know what code you're doing there too, it's merely math calculations is all it is there too. And it's not just with us, that's with anybody. And if they tell you otherwise, they're lying to you because it's just, we all have to abide by code. So the International Building Code is what's most predominant unless you're in Florida. Florida has their own building code on there too. And as long as you do it to their code, it's not that big of a deal to achieve.
And in Texas, we don't have a lot that we have to, most of ours are rural builds.
Yeah. If it's rural, if it's inside of a city, we have to show. But we even though that's a good question. If we build in a rural area, we still build it to code.
That's right.
Even there too, we don't do it not to code just because we don't have to.
Yeah. All right. So spray foam. AK has another question: is spray foam the default or recommended option for such buildings? My immediate would be yes.
Yeah, well,
it's not necessarily a default.
Yeah, it depends on your area
Yeah.
on that side there too, and what you're trying to achieve. We do what's best or the design based on what your area is, and I'm a fan of the foam just because of how good a job it does as far as insulating your home.
Yeah.
But with that, you have to make sure your air conditioner's properly. If you have a dehumidifier, there's lots of variables on that side too. So it's not a be all end all. It's not a certain areas. Again, if you're in Northeast Texas, man, or in Texas or in a more hotter area. It is amazing how efficient it can make your home, but it just depends on your area. It's a default for our area for sure, but it's not something you have to do.
All right, so I think we've got about 8 minutes left, so we're going to kind of wrap up. I'll give a couple of minutes here, see if we have any other questions come up. So just to kind of recap what we've got going on.
There's a few more if you want to hit on as far as podcasts coming up.
Okay, so some of the other topics that we've got coming up for the podcast, and another thing that we didn't mention was the podcast. The goal is every other week. Every 2 weeks. Now, if we have a video that we've got coming out and we feel like we want to go ahead and, get in the lab over there and put an episode out, we will. But the goal is every 2 weeks, and we're going to keep doing our tours and everything else just like normal, but we're going to add the podcast to our Barndo channel. Some of the other things that we're going to cover, topics that we're ready to cover, are slab versus pier and beam builds. We're going to see some of those in that Ozarks region. We're going to see more of a pier and beam style. And if you ever drove into that region, you can see why there's not a flat spot up there near the White River. So we're going to talk about building on slab versus pier and beam. That is a question that we get quite a bit. DIY project versus hiring professionals versus hiring a contractor to do your build for you. What are the pros and cons there? Open cell versus closed cell foam, and why? What are the benefits of each, and why would you use either or?
Yeah.
One of my topics is, are all windows created equal? There's different levels of window you can do, builder grade. You can, there's different styles of windows and different levels of windows that you can purchase. What flooring should I choose? Pros and cons of kind of each. Look at the vinyl plank and versus concrete options. I've had a customer today. We were talking about stenciling concrete versus stamped concrete. What are options that we've got? My favorite topic, let's get stoned. So we're going to talk faux stone versus real stone in your exterior, your fireplace, and throughout the house or anything like that. And then there's show me the money. Yeah. How to understand your cost breakdown. So we give you a really in-depth cost breakdown. So that thing is like 8 pages long. So basically what you should expect from a cost breakdown and then how to read that. What's the difference in doing a fixed cost, which is what primarily we do, versus a cost plus situation. And then financing your Barndo. I actually have a guest that I think can come in on that one.
Yep.
Heather from over at Eastman Credit Union has told me that she'll come in on that podcast, talk to us about why you can't just walk in and DIY your project, and what to expect from the bank there and steps that you're going to have to go through. So we've got a lot of topics. I think
awesome.
we had like 36 topics that we had written down. So, I mean, we're good for 10 years. So we've got tons of topics. Hope you guys will follow along with that. So we've got our podcast coming twice a month. We've got our new shorts channel. That channel is already set up. So if you've subscribed to this channel, please get over there and subscribe to the 1845 Barndo Shorts channel. That's going to be our behind the scenes stuff, our daily updates and things like that. We've got Lawrence Construction, our partnership there in 2025. I'm very excited about that one. I think that's going to be a really, really good partnership with them up in the Ozarks region. And then I think that's it. Our 12 Days of Christmas. So we've got our sale going on right now. Go online. We've had several people take advantage of that on the plans. And then we've had 2 kits that we've been able to give them the 10% off the steel material prices there. And that's now through the end of the year. Marissa Trevino, how much for a basic 2,300 square foot Barndo? My quick answer to that is go to our website, go to the request a quote. I don't have time to go into the full breakdown of that one. Go to our website, click on request a quote. That will come into me. I'll get it first thing in the morning. I'll be in here probably, I usually get in here 4 a.m., run a couple of miles, cook breakfast for everybody, and then I get in the office about 6 or 6:30. That is not true. I'll be in here about 7:30 in the morning, and we'll get to work on that. But we've got a lot going on in 2025. We appreciate everybody for following us, subscribing, and keeping up with us in 2024. It's been a really, really good year. I think we've been very blessed in 2024, and we're really excited about 2025. You got anything else you want to add?
You know, part of the idea behind the podcast is to really, use our knowledge, use what we do with every single day to answer questions, because Barndo, I think, is the ultimate DIY type of build. That's the new age type of build there too. And I don't have a problem at all if people want to do their own thing. I really don't. I mean, I admire people with there, and everybody has a brother-in-law's cousin's uncle that's built something
twice removed.
Yeah. And again, I have no problem with that at all. And while we can't walk you through every single part of it, there too, but we can definitely give you some advice on that side and try to help. And we do get a lot of leads in, a lot of stuff that comes in, but we try to be as open and available as we can on that side there too. And we just more than anything want to connect with you guys. And that was kind of the idea behind the video with the homeowner. I think we have 1 or 2 bad reviews on Google, unfortunately. I'm not afraid to shy away from that. And on what's there too, I'll own up to things that I've done wrong or I can do better there too. And that's why I want to be just real. And I know I told Charlie, I would love to bring we've built hundreds of homes, and people are thrilled to death with their homes and everything like that. And I've done a very poor job of making sure they leave reviews and we've made lifelong friends with some of these folks, man. It's been an awesome opportunity and enabling us to continue to grow. And so part of that is connecting. You see the face behind the build, what's going on there too. When someone walked off and never answered their phone call again, you'd see the builder behind the build, and along with kind of the process from there on there too. And we want to bring that a little more to front, I guess, to the front of what we do on our channel. And anyway, look forward to that.
Really want to show you more of what we do. Make it more personal. And just kind of show you the whole process. It's easy to show you a really quick video. It's really not hard for me to go show you a quick video of a finished tour of a house. We can knock those out pretty quickly, but we want to bring you a little bit more of the story. And I'm going to call out Cricket Cook if she's watching. She's going to be one of our guests. I'm going to call her out and get her on here. And Eric Beatty, some of those guys, some of those folks that we've built for, we're excited to have them and have them part of our family. Yeah. And we're really looking forward to where this is going to take us. And I will say one thing. We would love for our viewers to recommend podcast topics. We've got a ton of them that we can talk about. If you've got something that you'd like for us to discuss and talk about, or maybe a topic that you're struggling with as far as your planning and things like that, let us know. Leave comments in there. We do look at those comments. It's hard for us to reply to every one of them, but we do get on there and look at those and try to respond as much as we possibly can. But we would love for this to be, to me, this is our way to be viewer led and be more interactive with our viewers, instead of just, hey, here's this house. You don't get to make, you don't get to have any say in this, whatever. We're just going to show you the house and off we go. Yeah. And I'm not against doing a live tour if we can get, internet and everything else to cooperate with us, going in and doing a live tour of a house and having comments as we go and things like that, as long as you stay nice.
Well, it's unfortunately, a lot of our stuff's not unfortunately. It's great that they're in rural areas, but internet's not always a strong, including your home.
Yeah, mine is terrible. Yeah. But we've had a really, really good year. We are so thankful for each and every one of you. We're really excited about where 2025 is going to take us, and we hope that you guys will follow along. So we're going to wrap up today here on the Barndo channel. I'm Charlie. This is Cody. We're going to call it a night. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year. We probably won't see you again until after the first of the year. So hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.